Good morning, everyone, and welcome to EQTC 2021, our second conference of the Quantum Technologies Flagship. Well, actually, when we closed our first conference, EQTC 2019 in Grenoble, more than 2 years ago, little did we know about what would come. So a lot of things have happened which we didn't expect. And certainly the saddest of all is that we are not going to be able to meet personally this time. So the exchange, which is the life and blood of a scientific conference, will have to live virtually this time, as we have experienced in the last several months. But not all the surprises have been bad. There have been also some very good surprises of things that also we would have expected. For instance, we thought the flagship would be 1 billion euros over 10 years, half from the Commission, half from member states. We were wrong. Now, in fact, the Commission has more than quadrupled their commitment to more than 2 billion euros, and member states have really invested much more beyond any rosy expectations, totaling altogether among different member states at least 5 billion euros, so that we can say the flagship is more than 7 times now what we thought. Of course, this comes with huge commitments, but also here there are some good surprises, in the sense that in the beginning, of course, we should have expected great results. So we were starting the ramp-up phase, which is now concluding, and we are entering next year in the full-fledged phase. And, you know, we should have expected good results because we committed to that, but this is high-risk research. So, I mean, we could not be sure, but in the meantime, we can be very happy and proud that in all the pillars, in all the fields of the flagship, very major progress has been achieved. And also not only scientific progress, but also innovation and companies. There are a lot of startups in Europe producing hardware and software in all the different fields that we have. And we start seeing also companies relocating or opening up subsidiaries in Europe because we really are managing to make Europe a leader in this field. So this is what we are going to celebrate and exchange and learn about in these 4 days. And this session is the starting of it. So we are having some welcome addresses from different organizations, the Irish government, the organizing committee, the European Commission, and the Strategic Advisory Board of the Quantum Flagship. So let me start right away with the first welcome from the Ireland Organizing Committee, from Professor Jean-Christophe Desplat from the Irish Centre for High-End Computing. Welcome, Jean-Christophe, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Tommaso. Good morning. So my name is Jean-Christophe Desplat. I am the director of the Irish Centre for High-End Computing, that most of you know as ICHEC. So I am delighted to be hosting this second edition of the European Quantum Technologies Conference, EQTC, from Dublin in Ireland. Delighted, of course, but as Tommaso explained, also disappointed not to be able to welcome you in person and give you the opportunity to experience the legendary Irish hospitality. Next time, hopefully. I have little doubts that quantum technologies will deliver the most significant technological breakthroughs of our generation. And the great thing is that this process is happening right now. As an event, EQTC21 itself gathers an impressive ecosystem of researchers, engineers, technologists, skills and education specialists, representatives from public and private organizations, and politicians. In total, almost 650 experts from 45 countries. Now, I am particularly appreciative and thankful to the European Commission for their strong resolve to make the European Union the destination of choice for talented and innovative quantum specialists, but also to ensure that Europe reaps the benefits, both economic and societal, from their advancements. My wish for EQTC21 is that it is remembered as the special one, where we started breaking silos and got experts from different communities, and in particular my own community of HPC practitioners and the research community, to pool our strength and expertise towards a common objective, realizing the European vision. Finally, I would like to thank the following people and organizations who have been working so hard over the past year to pull this event together and make it what I am sure will be a great success. First, the organizing team, and particularly my colleagues Venkatesh Kannan, Peter Woods, and Marie-Thérèse Culligan. the European Commission and the Quantum Flagship initiative, obviously, our host university, the National University of Ireland in Galway, and of course, all the members of the program and organizing committee. I also would like to give special thanks to Minister Heather Humphreys for her support. Finally, I am delighted to have here today our Vice President for Research, Professor Livesey, who has published fascinating research on how technological disruption transforms society. He will be very well placed to comment on the societal impact of quantum technologies. Thank you. I hope you all enjoy EQTC21.
Thank you very much, Jean-Christophe. And indeed, now we have Professor James Livesey from the National University of Galway, of Ireland in Galway, and also for a word of welcome from the organizing committee.
Many thanks, Tommaso, and you'll be pleased to know we're about to change the name to the University of Galway to make all this much simpler. I would very much like to second Jean-Christophe's thanks to the various institutions and individuals who have made this gathering possible, particularly in the difficult circumstances in which we find ourselves. And I would also like to express my thanks on the part of the National University of Ireland, Galway, to Jean-Christophe and his team for the effort and work they've put into this and for all their work. ICHEC is one of the jewels in our crown, and we are delighted to be the host of this national institution. Jean-Christophe was kind enough to indicate some of my own intellectual interest in the history of information and the history of technology. And I would like possibly to share what I think will be some utopian aspirations and some thoughts on what might be the historical and social science consequences of the work you, my colleagues, are undertaking here and more generally. I think we're all aware that we are living in a moment of transformation, and we have now become used to those transformations being characterized in three ways: as the green, digital, and energy transitions. And the relevance of quantum technologies to those three transitions, of course, obvious across many domains. And the possibilities of coordination and a higher order of complexity in those bounded domains is clear to you all, and many of you are working in these fields. I'd like to speak to a slightly higher order of abstraction just for a few seconds, because these transformations, of course, accumulate as a real inflection in human society, particularly for Europe. And it is wonderful to be part of that European aspiration to confront these challenges at the moment and to master them and to bring a democratic resolution to these things. As we face into these challenges, we are fundamentally at the moment equipped with the information technologies of the 18th century. Now that may strike you as an odd thing to say, given the importance of computing and ICT over the past few years. But fundamentally at the human level, technologies such as money and news, the technologies we use to coordinate our behaviors vis-a-vis one another, and which inform democratic society, have not been fundamentally transformed. We've had a linear acceleration of fundamentally the same coordination possibilities. The great and wonderful possibility of quantum is that it offers technologies and capacities to render the complexity of human behavior open to computation, to make ourselves visible to ourselves, in order to understand not simply the equilibrium models which have dominated social science, but dynamic models, plural dynamic models, with real-time coordination of behavior based on information. It is, I think, true to say what Jean-Christophe indicated in his opening remarks, that quantum may turn out to be the key technology, the coordinating technology of the next 40 or 50 years. I can't tell you how pleased we are to be such a key part of this early moment of the development of the field and of the community. And we hope that, as Jean-Christophe has said, that when we look back at the history of this moment, this meeting turns out to be that point at which we broke the shackles. I wish you well in your endeavors, and I look forward to inspiration from you in the future. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, James. As a matter of fact, normally when you have some words of welcome from some vice president, you know, this tends to be sort of generic, but it is the first time that I get such a specific and scientifically contentful introduction from a historian. So this is really a historic moment, we can say. And actually, a lot of what you said would deserve a lot of deepening. Maybe we should have given you more time to lecture us a little bit about these aspects, because this is very, very exciting. Well, today, this is not what we have scheduled for, but thanks a lot. This was a very special introduction for me, you know, very unique with respect to sort of standard conferences that we are having. Now there is another unique contribution. It is a video message. So again, normally we will have, typically in our conferences, we ask some high-profile representatives from governments to join us. But today it is the minister in person, Heather Humphreys, who is the Irish Minister for Social Protection, Community and Rural Development. She has prepared a rather long message, a video message of more than 7 minutes for wishing us well in this conference. So now for Heather Humphreys, the Irish Minister's message.
I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the second European Quantum Technologies Conference. I know that the Irish quantum community has been keenly anticipating the opportunity to host this international conference. The European Quantum Flagship initiative brings together global scientists, technologists and policymakers at a crucial time in advancing quantum technologies to benefit science, industry and society. And I would like to congratulate the Irish Centre for High-End Computing, the National University of Ireland Galway and the European Quantum Flagship Initiative in successfully planning and organising this prestigious and strategically important event. While it's unfortunate that we cannot welcome all of you to Dublin in person, I am sure that this virtual environment will deliver the opportunity for collaboration and advancement in quantum knowledge and application. Over the next few days, you will have an opportunity to exchange views and gain insights from the many eminent international speakers from the European Commission, academia and industry. The impact of quantum technologies is growing and its importance for international competitiveness is highly relevant. Billions of euro are invested by national governments, the European Commission, corporate and private investors to both gain access in an emerging market estimated to grow to hundreds of billions of euro per annum and attain a strategic advantage in the applications enabled by quantum technologies. This quantum revolution is specifically relevant to Ireland. Ireland researchers have recognised the potential of quantum technologies for innovation and competitiveness. Quantum computing has a long research tradition in Ireland, documented by an impressive research output and international reputation. This activity ranges from the development of key enabling technologies for quantum computer engineering to the actual realization of quantum computing hardware and software and transfer to applications. In the past, Irish science has made fundamental contributions to our understanding of the quantum world. Of note, the work of physicist John Bell, whose work in the 1960s definitively illuminated the nature of quantum entanglement. Entanglement was first described by Erwin Schrödinger, who was later invited to help establish the Dublin Institute for Advanced Studies. Today, Ireland has a significant level of expertise in quantum technology with a talent pool and research portfolio relevant to the main pillars of the field. Ireland has continued to demonstrate its dedication to quantum innovation by developing financial and institutional supports for research and innovation, including the establishment of a National Advisory Forum for Quantum Technology and investments from the Disruptive Technologies Innovation Fund. In May this year, the government announced a multi-million euro investment in the Quantum Computer Engineering Centre at Tyndall National Institute. The new centre will see 45 new quantum researchers hired and an opportunity for Ireland to play a pivotal part in moving quantum science from theory to practice, particularly in developing innovative ways. To make the technology more powerful and scalable, through the integration of quantum devices, hardware and software. Our National Centre for High Performance Computing, ICHEC, is driving the RD&I in the strong coupling of classical HPC and quantum computing systems at national and European level, supported by government funding and the European Commission. ICHEC is advancing quantum computing platforms and established the Quantum Programming Ireland initiative in 2018 to advance the development of practical applications on currently available quantum computing platforms, further research and development in quantum, and create education and training for the academic and enterprise communities. ICHEC is involved in a number of European projects in areas from quantum natural language processing to chemistry analysis, quantum circuits, and, of course, the Quantum Flagship Next Applications of Quantum Computing programme. Ireland has a strategically important position in the technology sector as a competitive global hub. We appreciate the synergy between the quantum training programme offered by industry partners and those run through our universities. Together, these programmes will prepare Ireland for the quantum revolution, providing us with a skilled workforce ready to apply breakthrough in quantum computing to smart medical technology, telecommunications, climate change and more. Quantum computing application development in activities in Ireland, both in academia and enterprise organisations, have been growing exponentially over the past 3 years. There has been a significant increase in the development of quantum computing applications that are important to enterprise, end users, public sector organisations and researchers. Consequently, organisations in Ireland across different sectors are investing in or are seeking collaborative development of quantum computing solutions for their research or business services and solutions. We in Ireland believe that we can build on our existing successes in information and communication technologies to become a global leader in research, development and innovation that underpins the quantum revolution, and to become the hub for realising and exploiting the new opportunities in quantum technologies, in particular in quantum computing and communications. It is clear that we are at a pivotal time where the power and energy scalability of traditional high-performance computing technologies are plateauing. The amount of data to be handled and analysed is growing exponentially. Quantum solutions will be central to the development of the next generation of information and communication technologies. These technologies will require new concepts to be invented, new materials and their fundamental properties to be understood, and new fundamental principles to be explored, all of which are essential to realising the ambition of the twin, green and digital transitions. Increasingly, there is a weight of expectation from the scientific world that quantum technologies can deliver the change that is required. Events like this, which bring the best research and industry minds together, are important fora where these advances can be accelerated. Finally, I wish the organisers and all of the participants every success in your discussions over the coming days.
Well, thank you, Minister Humphreys. So it's very nice to see the engagement and the details and the depth of discussion about entanglement and physics and technology and everything, which our top level government representatives are now getting into. And now, if we want to move one step more in depth into the initiatives, let us welcome Dr. Gustav Kalbe. He is the head of unit for high performance computing and quantum technologies at the European Commission. Gustav has been since now, I think 22 years ago, I met him for the first time, and he already then was a project officer for quantum projects. So he has accompanied our community essentially all its life long, and is now going to give us some insight about the next steps to come. So welcome, Gustav. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Tommaso, for the kind words and for a nice introduction. I would like to really welcome the whole audience on this very important event for us. I also personally regret that we cannot have a physical presence, not just because we can engage much better and it's always worthwhile a trip to come to Dublin, but also if you would compare the audience, what we would have today to what we had 20 years ago, you would see that the numbers have dramatically increased, that they would not even fit into a single room anymore. And you will find more than just quantum physicists, but you would find engineers, users, people from the industry, investors, and so on. So for me, it's a big pleasure. And really, I'm very happy that the quantum field in Europe has been moving so well and so fast at the end. As Tommaso pointed out, in 1999, the European Union was the first region in the world to start with a dedicated, structured program in support of quantum technologies. At that time, it was still very close to science fiction. In 1999, just a year before or so, Professor Zeilinger had experimentally demonstrated that teleportation can be made. And it's amazing to see how far we have come today, together with the member states and the patience and the stamina we have shown in this topic is really now starting to pay off. That's why I would like you to get a bit of bridge between where we started and where we are now and what will be coming up. As I said, we started in 1999, where quantum technologies was still much seen as science fiction. The competences were so dispersed across Europe that the only way to make advances was through dedicated European program, bringing together all the competences, all the resources we have across Europe. And this is one of the strengths we had ever since, this very well connected, very well engaged community that is working so closely together. Never mind that the brilliant people are distributed equally all across Europe. We had the first framework programs, so FP5 and FP6, large investments in quantum, around 25 million for each call we were making. We are constantly making progress. And at the end of the sixth framework program, around the year 2009, we had come up to a certain level of maturity where demonstrating qubits was no longer science fiction. We could show that we can entangle 8 qubits. It would take us maybe a day to measure, but the basic problems were solved. And then we entered, I would say, into a certain situation where we're in between curiosity-driven or basic science and moving into the applied world. I recognize that that time frame was a bit difficult to find the right scope, the right orientations, trying to take advantage of all the results we produced, trying to find the next step and accept some anecdotal evidence of moving quantum into some practical applications. We did not really succeed to exploit the result at that time, very likely because the time was not ripe yet. Nevertheless, in the 7th framework program, the whole quantum community got even stronger, better organized, and we are quite proud that in 2017 we got this quantum manifesto from the quantum community that was signed by a couple of thousand people in Europe that are actively engaged and contributing to the development of quantum. And this was really the trigger to launch the Quantum Flagship, which has now grown beyond our expectation and is taking ramification in so many fields. In 2018, we were successfully launching the first phase of the Quantum Technologies Flagship, which was quite a game changer, not only because of the outcomes we are now seeing, but also because of the approach, about the focus of our investments in quantum technologies. Before the flagship, the investments were mainly in basic or fundamental science, while the scope of the flagship is on innovation, of transfer of technology from the research labs into the real world, into products, applications, into industry. Some of you might remember the heated debates about this balance between innovation and basic science at the time, and we received quite a number of criticism of pushing too much into the direction of the innovation. But if you take a look at where we are today, we took the right decision at the time. The basic concept of the flagship is innovation, keeping the competences that we have in the union, and also attract the new talents and attract new business, which is what is happening, as one of the previous speaker has mentioned. Nevertheless, irrespective of the fact that the focus is on innovation, we have still done massive investments in fundamental science, because the Commission is convinced that there's so many fundamental questions still to be solved that it would be a big mistake not to invest there. So in the flagship, call by call, we had always supporting the basic science in the order of 25 million per call, but we're also quite satisfied by the other big initiative that we are funding together with the member states that is mainly addressing basic science, which is the Quantera initiative, which is now in its second generation. And if we combine the European funding with the national funding, we come there in the order of 100 million we have been allocating for the last 5 years in basic science, together with the member states, together with 35 other national funding agencies, which for us is another big success of the flagship. Now, we are at the end of the first phase of the Quantum Flagship, which started in 2018. The projects of the first generations are about to end, and we had never expected how successful those projects would be, as we're seeing now real tangible exploitable results coming out of this first generation of projects that are even spun out into startup companies, and we see the first commercial products coming up. I could cite the different quantum computers or quantum simulators that are now at the level where they can be really applied, that they can run real applications, that even if they don't show yet the quantum advantage, they're doing practical real-world stuff, and which come out of our programs. And we are convinced that without the collaborative effort, which is really in the genes of the European quantum community, would never have made the success, and made the success faster than 3 years ago any of our criticisms around the world would have believed or told us. We're making similar progress on all the other quantum applications, be it on the quantum sensing, be it on the quantum communications part, where we're moving into more and more sophisticated small-scale sensors with much higher precisions, or where we're now getting the maturity of the quantum communication components that make us now seriously think about implementing also there some networks in the field. But I will come to those in a moment. We are now 1 year into the new framework program, where the Quantum Flagship is still playing a pivotal role for all the quantum policy and the strategy that we have in the Union. It is as important, if not more important than ever. But to our happy surprise, the quantum field is expanding now much further than just into the flagship. And the flagship really, I like to call this the technology supply for all the other initiatives that we're implementing at the European level. As the development and evolution of the quantum technologies went so well, and we now have the real tangible results, having some startups that are already commercializing those products, we now can really move into the next dimension, which is expanding an innovation program by more downstream initiatives, notably the capabilities building, the deployment of quantum infrastructures to make the quantum technology tangible and exploitable by a very large community of people that are not quantum specialists, but that are really looking forward of new solutions or smarter solutions to old or new problems that they have. So let me just give you a quick overview of those other initiatives. The first one is the deployment of a quantum computing infrastructure that will be deployed in conjunction with the high performance computing infrastructure that we are already having and that we keep expanding in the European Union. So the basic idea really here is to find a place for the quantum computers that are coming out of our European projects to support the industry in maturing and developing turnkey solutions that are serving practical problems, but also give the users the access to those computers, but not only just the computers itself, but whole competences around that are necessary to understand how those computers work or help the users transpose their practical problem into a quantum infrastructure. And the users will take the full range from scientific users to the industrials. We see that there's quite a large interest in getting access to those computers and services. Likewise, we are stepping up our investments in quantum communications, where we're working on the EuroQCI initiative, with the first calls for deployment went out, where the idea is over the next years to build a European-wide quantum communication infrastructure, starting with quantum key distribution that is linking regional or metropolitan and national networks all across the Union to provide a variety of service, from commercial service to governmental service, protection of critical infrastructures on terrestrial networks, but also with a connection to the space via satellites. Now, just deploying infrastructures is not sufficient. We also now need to move into the manufacturing capabilities, into the production. That's why with the flagship, we're launching the first pilot lines to help the inventors, the creators, the startups to design and build small batches of quantum components with a perspective of more and more unifying, harmonizing, or standardizing the production processes and progressively ramp up the production capabilities so that in the future we'll have a big manufacturing industry of quantum components all across Europe for whatever quantum application. And here we would like really to make the link with the CHIPS Act that was announced by our Commissioner Breton not so long ago, which was also part of the State of the Union speech of our President von der Leyen, which aims at bringing into Europe the capabilities, the capacities of autonomously develop, design, manufacture, and exploit key components like the quantum chips that we need to succeed in our digital transformation and to succeed with the Green Deal. Last but not least, I would really like to thank the member states and congratulate them, as more and more are now putting together or have launched also very large quantum programs, which, if you sum them up, go into several billions. That is collectively going far beyond what the Commission is investing. We're seeing that the objectives and strategies are quite similar, and we're really looking forward for the next 6 years of this framework program to work in cooperation with the quantum community, but certainly also with the national ministries, the national programs, to bundle our efforts, to bundle our competences, and build on what has made Europe so strong and which is one of the success factors of the whole quantum program, which is the collaborative effort, the collaborative spirit we always had in quantum in Europe. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Gustav. Indeed, there are many, many pleasant surprises awaiting us in the future. There are many positive developments, and you know, from the side of the community, now I am very pleased to welcome Professor Jürgen Linek, the chairman of the Strategic Advisory Board of the flagship. Jürgen has been accompanying the development of the ideas since the beginning, since after the Quantum Manifesto, when the European Commission started a so-called high-level steering committee to propose a first implementation plan for the flagship. Also, that body was chaired by Jürgen, and so I am very pleased to have the opportunity now to hear the point of view of the Strategic Advisory Board on where we are and what will be the next steps. So, Jürgen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Tommaso. Good morning to everybody. As already said several times, it's a pity that we cannot meet in 3D, but we have to make the best out of it. Let me take the opportunity to briefly comment a little bit on the present status of the EU flagship on quantum technologies. As already pointed out, especially by Gustav, the European commitment goes from vision to reality over a couple of years, starting with Quantera, still running. The Quantum Flagship came in addition, and as some kind of bridge towards digital Europe, we now also have a quantum communication infrastructure initiative and quantum computing infrastructure initiative. So this really fits nicely together. And as a matter of fact, what is shown here on this transparency also is some kind of time axis where starting with Quantera up to the quantum computing infrastructure, a whole set of instruments has been established to push quantum in Europe. We started in 2018. There was a kickoff meeting in Vienna when the Austrians were chairing the EU presidency. And if you carefully look on this slide, you will see some of the actors of this morning also being present on stage at that moment. So this was 2018. In the meantime, we have a strategic research agenda being set up by the high-level steering committee, which was a precursor of the present strategic advisory board together with the European Union, which, by the way, Gustav gives me the opportunity to thank DG Connect very much for the very good collaboration that we had over the last couple of years to really get this quantum flagship on the road. So the ramp up phase is over now. After 3 years, we are entering the full phase for the next 7 years. The structure of this strategic research agenda is no surprise. There are mainly 4 pillars: communication, simulation, sensing and metrology, as well as computing, and in some sense underlying basic science. Gustav Kalbe already pointed out that there was a discussion at the very beginning how to deal with basic science towards innovation. But I think we all agreed after a discussion that took some time and was sometimes a little bit controversial, that at the end, the quantum flagship should develop quantum technologies, which means contribute to wealth creation and also new jobs in Europe. So that's the focus, developing technologies of this EU flagship. We updated the strategic research agenda during the ramp-up phase, and core principles of the updated agenda are engage all stakeholders and create an innovative ecosystem, very important, where, you know, science, the private sector, and also politics have to come together. We have to finance growth, that is, build up a quantum industry. We need an infrastructure. This was already pointed out. I'll come back to that in a moment. We need standards. We need a standardization strategy, and of course, we also have to create a European intellectual property policy. And finally, very important, as most of the money goes into people at the end, we have to educate the labor force in a certain sense, and we also have to make clear via outreach activities what this is all good for. Let me spend a short moment on the infrastructure activities. One is on quantum communication. And as you can see here, the idea is integrate quantum cryptography and critical communication system, combine terrestrial and satellite-based components for broad reach and coverage, protect data networks, and establish a backbone infrastructure for the quantum internet. So that's the idea of this quantum communication infrastructure. If we look at quantum computing, you will see a number of different components. This is also the connection to high performance computing, as pointed out by Gustav Kalbe just a moment before. Classical quantum simulation hardware in high performance computing, quantum testbed facilities for hardware developers, quantum computing and simulation hardware. I don't want to go into details here. At the end, it's not clear at the moment which technology will make it at the end, whether this will be superconducting devices, ion traps, spin qubits, photonic circuits, neutral atoms. This is, I would say, an open race. At the moment, some of the technologies are more advanced than others, but we will see. And finally, we also need use cases. And this is also where the private sector comes in, especially big companies that are not so much interested in developing technologies, but using the technologies to solve some of their, problems in mobility issues, material issues, and so forth. This also brings me to the Quantum Industry Consortium. We need a quantum industry, and we came up recently this year with a quantum industry involvement via a consortium where a lot of companies, big companies, small and medium-sized enterprises, but also startups are involved. It's modeled a little bit after a US initiative, which again was somehow modeled after the semiconductor roadmap. So you need an industry involvement, and the industry also has to go over a roadmap to make clear also to the science community and to the technology developer what kind of components at the end are needed to come up with something that is not only working in the lab, but is engineered such that finally products can evolve and come on the market. At the moment, 20 countries involved, 140 plus members, 10 working groups. I think this really is a big step forwards. With respect to the emerging ecosystem, we especially need more startups. There are not so much big companies investing heavily as, for example, in the US in topics like quantum computing. As I said, in Europe, the big companies are more technology takers than technology makers. That's a problem. On the other hand, it's a chance really for small and medium-sized companies, and especially startups, to really contribute to this quantum technology initiative. And this whole issue of sciencepreneurship is a general issue for Europe, I would say, in the sense that it's a question of culture and mentality. Do especially our young people that we perfectly trained at the universities and so forth? Are they willing to take a risk as entrepreneurs, yes or no? And on the other hand, we also need capital, enough venture capital to support these type of initiatives. We are not alone. Europe is on one side going strong, but global competition is there and tough. Here are some examples. There is the Google activity in the US as one example of activities of large companies. There are others like IBM, Microsoft, Honeywell, and so forth. In the upper right picture, you see Jan Wei Pan from Hefei University. He runs the Chinese National Initiative. Both claimed quantum supremacy recently. Google with superconducting devices, Jan Wei Pan with a photonic system. And there are others, like, for example, the founder of D-Wave that you see on the lower left side from Canada, or Michelle Simmons from Australia. So activities all over the world. Of course, the question is, what kind of resources are involved? We already heard some of the budget numbers. Of course, they are really, you know, changing. These are the numbers that you see here are not the actual numbers. As a matter of fact, that's not the updated slide. Europe, as we have heard, invest via the Commission roughly 2 billion, and the national programs in the wake of the pandemic will invest another 4.5 to 5 billion euros. So a significant effort from the European side, matched by China. China has a strong national strategy. The number from the US seems small, but that's just the US National Quantum Initiative. This doesn't count money from other DOE sources, DARPA, Department of Defense, or the private sector. I think the main message here is there are three big activities worldwide: the US on one side, China on the other side, and Europe. And with respect to financial resources, at least, Europe really is among the top three. Now, we have heard that there are member state investments. This is again shown here. For some of the countries that really make significant contributions, these are the Netherlands, France, and Germany, for example, but there are others, and this adds up to the overall amount that has been mentioned before also by Tommaso Calarco, roughly 4.5 to 5 billion euros on top of the EU money. So we have to complement the European and national efforts. We have to synchronize the European and national strategies, pool resources, and competence. And at the end, I think, let me come back to this issue of people. People matter, very relevant, education and training. We have to scale education and training efforts. There is a European competence framework for quantum technologies, very helpful. And we have to create new incentives to retain European talent in science and industry, because the heat is on. You know, the competition is worldwide. There are programs everywhere and attractive offers, especially for young people, to go where the jobs are, where the most attractive jobs are. And this is something where we as Europeans have to stay competitive. So in summary, we are well on track. We can do it. Let us deliver what we promise. I wish all of you a very successful meeting in the next couple of days. Thank you.
Thank you, Jürgen, for this overview. And indeed, what we are going to see in the next days is really all the content of what you have described to us in broad strokes. Now, since we are 10 minutes ahead of schedule, I think we can allow ourselves to address one question which appeared in the chat on the conference website. And I believe that this might be a question for Gustav Kalbe. So it says, what are the EU initiatives to attract international talent? I.e., do you have special extensions to blue card programs, etc.? I don't know if, Gustav, you feel like you could address this question, since we have a couple of minutes to do so.
Yes, Tommaso, I'm happy to take that question. I mean, indeed, the whole skills dimension is an aspect we have not addressed in our keynote speeches. The development of skills remains a crucial part of our whole policy. We don't have a sort of blue card program because the policy for education is a national policy and the Commission cannot impose any particular program to the member states. Nevertheless, with the Digital Europe program, we have just launched quite a large call for skills development, and we'll see more of them in the future to, on one hand, extend the level of training opportunities of skills program we have that will go beyond the university degrees you now have in physics, but that are addressing the full spectrum of skills need that you have in the sector, from the user perspective to the industry to the universities. And there we're also quite happy that with the support action we had launched with the beginning of the flagship 2018, we made quite some progress in doing a cartography of what are the different curricula that are available, what are the different skills need we have across the board, so that now with the current framework program, we can now launch dedicated calls to fill the gaps, and hopefully at the end of this framework program have dedicated curricula that are really responding to the needs of the actors in the field. Now, the last dimension to the question, if we really want to attract the talents from elsewhere in the union, but also to keep them from inside the union, we have to show that we are the coolest place in the world to do quantum, be it from the research side, be it on the opportunity it gives to bright, talented, and entrepreneurial people to invest their time and develop the field and see a career perspective in this area. And that's why we are so happy that we now have this very large range of different activities on quantum in Europe, from research, basic research, innovation, deployment, support to industry, support to manufacturing, and hopefully very soon we'll also be putting direct money on the table to support financially the startups by investing in their shares together with the help of the Innovation Council or the EIB.
Thank you very much, Gustav, for this very comprehensive answer, which again shows us the really big breadth of activities that we are having and that are being set up. Now, for the last speaker of this morning, so I am very happy to introduce Dr. Venkatesh Kannan. He's the Center Technical Manager for ICHEC, and not only has been a driving force in the organizing committee, and so we have to be very, very thankful to him and to a handful of other people for really making this possible. But also personally, I'd like to thank him because of over the last several months, we have been working together on a joint white paper of the quantum technologies and the high-performance computing community in the direction of this European quantum computing and simulation infrastructure, which we call EuroQCS, to distinguish it from EuroQCI, the European Quantum Communication Infrastructure. So this is a discussion which has brought together for the first time both the quantum and the high-performance community, and Venkatesh is a central figure, you know, sitting in the intersection of those in Ireland. And so I'm very happy to welcome you, give you the floor, and thank you for giving us a virtual walkthrough of the conference, which is more than just your usual Zoom call. There are many, many things which can help us come together, even though, of course, not as good as it would be in person, but still making the best possible use of this online platform. So thank you, Venkatesh. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Tommaso. Always a pleasure to work with you, and a very warm welcome to everyone this morning. So before we go into the next session, I would like to give you a brief outline of the next 3.5–4 days of the conference so that you can navigate it effectively. The virtual conference platform, the virtual conference platform on which you have logged in now provides you all access to all of the talks and presentation sessions, the poster gallery, and the virtual exhibition. So you can use this platform also to network with all of the registered attendees, speakers, poster presenters, exhibitors, but also any other attendee using the meeting hub, event stream, and networking sessions. The virtual platform is also actually your portal to access the complete conference program, the material that are being shared in different sessions. In all sessions, we are very keen to maximize your interaction among the presenters and participants. So please feel free to participate using the question and answer menu, the chat option, the live polling, and the discussion forum. So now, without taking too much time away from you, I will quickly outline how the 4-day sessions are broadly structured. So on today, so we've just heard from our opening speakers and their welcome addresses. So after a quick break, we will come back at around 11 Central European time for our keynote addresses. Before 11 though, feel free during the break to explore and use the networking session. After the keynote addresses, then we'll also come back in the afternoon for further updates from the Quantum Flagship about its activities. And also we will hear from the Commission on recent developments and upcoming opportunities. Tomorrow, on the second day of the conference, the plenary and most of the parallel talks are focused around quantum communication, metrology, and sensing. So there will be a series of plenary talks in the morning and also in the afternoon immediately after the lunch break. In the parallel sessions, you will hear from both the scientific as well as our industry colleagues. And there are a number of workshops that you can attend, some of which may require prior registration, while others are open to all. So please feel free to actually check today in case you need to register for any of the workshops that you would like to attend over the next 2 to 3 days. There's also a virtual poster presentation, which will focus on quantum computing and simulation work tomorrow. And throughout the day, our virtual exhibitions and networking sessions will be open to you, of course, except during the plenary sessions. The day after, on Wednesday, the third day of our conference, the program is quite similarly structured today too. The plenary and parallel talks are focused now on the quantum computing and simulation activities on day 3, and also on integrating quantum computing and simulation systems with classical high-performance computing systems, which is, as Tommaso mentioned, which is a hugely strategic and technical topic of recent interest. So we will get to hear the developments and opportunities in these themes on day 3. Similar to day 2, the workshops on day 3 cover a broad range of topics from scientific and technical working groups, hands-on, but also the education and skills development activities primarily driven by QT-EDU, the coordination support activity action. So again, please do check today in case you need to register for any of these workshops that you would like to attend prior to the workshop itself. On day 4, which is the last day of the conference on Thursday, the morning session is dedicated to plenary and parallel talks and panel discussions on the basic science and cross-cutting technologies. There will be also a virtual poster and exhibition session for you to network with the presenters. And then we all come back on day 4, shortly after 2 p.m. Central European time, for a plenary session where we will hear from the Commission and Quantum Flagship, their concluding observations, remarks as a part of the closing ceremony. So please feel free to join us at 2 p.m. on Thursday to also actively share your thoughts as a part of the open community discussion that will happen, which we are actually very keen to receive. So the conference closes, technically speaking, on Thursday, but then on December 3rd, the Friday, there's one more thing. On Friday this week, the Quantum Flagship and the European Patent Office have organized a workshop to focus on how stakeholders in quantum technologies can patent your valuable work from research to market. So this session will be from 9 in the morning, Central European time, till around midday. So please check out the EQTC conference program, where you will also actually find the link to attend this workshop on Friday. And just wrapping up, so that as mentioned, please explore the conference platform, the virtual platform, to gain access to all of these sessions. If you haven't already watched the instruction video on how to use the platform, we recommend you to do so. You can access this by actually clicking your own photo or initials on the top right of your screen, and then settings. There's also a live support. So if you have any technical issues at any point during the conference, please click on the live support icon on the top of your screen, and there's a team always to help you out there. All sessions will be recorded, and they'll be available for you to watch in the platform within around 72 hours and on demand. And finally, again, networking. So there are a number of sessions. Please make as much opportunity as possible. And finally, since we are not able to gather in person this year, we wanted to give a bit more fun to the program. So you can actually win points by completing tasks and answering trivia questions that are related to our conference sponsors. This will earn you actually a ticket for every 100 points to win, and you'll be entered finally into a prize draw for one of the interesting prizes. So be sure to keep an eye out on the leaders board throughout the conference and get your competitive spirits going. So we again thank you all for joining today, and we hope you will have a productive and enjoyable event over the rest of the week. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkatesh. So this brings our session to a close. Well, actually, we are 15 minutes early. So in case there are some questions from the audience, we might still be able to address them. So there is a chat in the website, which will allow you to ask some questions. Let us give a couple of minutes to see if any questions are coming in. In the meantime, you can look on the program on the website, and you will see that actually now there is a break, which is a networking session with random chats with up to 4 people, which with sequential random breakout rooms, which last for about 7 minutes. For impromptu conversation with other colleagues. And then the actual scientific program will start at 11 with the keynotes on basic sciences, on quantum communication and on quantum computing. So I actually see that now there is no question coming in. So then I guess that I can just thank all the participants to this morning session for attending, all the speakers for the contribution. Once again, the organizing committee for making this possible. And let's just enjoy and make the most out of it. See you in the course of the next sessions, panel discussions in these 4 very exciting days. Thanks a lot.